Good afternoon, students of Seneca, and welcome to our third live stream. I hope you're not getting too sick of me, but today we are going over GCSE Religious Studies Edexcel Paper 2. So this should be hopefully a little fun one. I'm going to go over some exam tips for the actual paper, and obviously this is a it's a bit of a weird one to do a HyperCram for because there are lots of different themes. So I picked some key topics that are really high yield on the exam that we're going to go over, have a nice little HyperCram session, and then go over some short answer questions and some techniques for them, which should hopefully help. Oh, there's like a really weird light thing, streaming down the middle. Not sure what that is. But thank you everyone for joining in, and thank you for getting those comments in about what you want to see. And how is everyone doing? It's the first week after first week of GCSE exams done. Amazing, love that. You guys must be feeling relieved that some of it's over. So let's dive in. First week easy, good, glad to hear it. And we are live. Okay, so GCSE Religious Studies Paper 2. How does the paper work? What's the lowdown? Well, basically, what's nice about the paper is it's super formulaic, right? So it's always the same format no matter what. So we have question A is always going to be worth 3 marks, and that's pretty pretty standard. It's going to be something like outline 3 principles of X, outline 3 principles of Y. So just keep it super simple. That's not where we need to get into the detail, okay? And then question B, that's worth 4 marks. Now, what you need to do for question B is make sure that you give make a point and then develop it, and just repeat that again and again. Make a point, develop it. It's going to ask for some detailed reasonings about things. We'll get more into this. We'll get more into this a little bit later when we go through some examples. And then we get to question C, okay? So question C is a little bit like question B, but like 2.0. And the examiner is looking for 2 detailed explanations. So it's just like part B. So you've got to give a reason, and then you've got to give some explanation on it. We love detail. But the key thing with C, always remember to give a quotation. That's the key thing to remember. You need to give a quotation from a holy book or a statement made by a religious leader like the Pope. So that's what you need to remember for C. And then we get to the beastie question. We get to question D. Okay, so question D in paper 2 of religious studies is always going to be an evaluation question. And the evaluation question is it's 50, it's like you need to spend about 15 minutes on it. We'll go over timings in a second. But I have some top tips to remember for part D. 1, you need to remember to focus your answer on the statement you've been given, okay? You need to make sure your answer specifically answers that statement and you make reference to it, okay? And include different viewpoints. You need to just have positives and negatives. And you need to give a positive argument and a negative argument, okay? And you need to evaluate both of them, and you need a logical chain of reasoning. So it's just like in part B of the question when you give a reason and an explanation. Use that same approach here. So give a reason and then explain it. So offer a counter argument, give your reason, and then give an explanation. And be sure to include religious arguments. I mean, it's a religious study exam, so hopefully that should be self-explanatory. And you want to include evaluation in your answer critically, because that's where a lot of the assessment objective is about. And then you can include your own opinion if you want. That's up to you. See how you feel depending on the quotation that you get. And remember to write persuasively. It's an argument, so you're trying to convince someone of your argument. And I would aim for a minimum of 3 paragraphs. So have it 3 paragraphs and a full page of writing is how much I would recommend aiming for, okay? And yeah, you're totally right. You don't have to get the quote word for word. You're completely right. Just as long as it's recognizable, it's okay. So good shout from your teacher. So I would maybe tonight or over the weekend, you've got a few days before the exam rolls around, just write out a few key quotes on a piece of paper, on like a cute little notebook. And I know I use the adjective cute a lot. It's my favorite. Some of you have been criticizing me for that, but I think it's a cute adjective. So maybe just have like a nice little quote book with all the key quotes you need to remember for the exam, so you can flick over them before you go to bed, or have a little like Seneca study session on the bus on the way to school. And then when you're queuing up to get into the exam hall, you can look over those quotes. Okay, so those are my tips for the exam, and that will apply to pretty much like it's for any theme that you're doing. But we had some requests come in so I'm going to go over the most popular ones that we posted on Instagram to get you guys to shove us some questions. And we wanted to go over theories of salvation, incarnation, and we're doing Judaism short answer questions. So that's what we're going to be covering. Those were the most requested. So hopefully they will be useful, and you'll get some tips along the way. So even if they're not your options, you'll still get some nice little Seneca secrets and Seneca tips for the exam. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen so you can see what we're going to be going over. Do we have any questions so far about what we've covered? Any more tips that you want? Anything like that? Just let me know, start off in the comments, and we will go through it. Okay. So we're starting off with theories of salvation, HyperCram. And I feel like that is super contextual because when I have exams, I always need some salvation. So I thought it would be a good one to go through. I hope you guys agree. And it's going to be quick, it's going to be rapid fire, and we're going to burn through it. You guys are going to end feeling super confident and ready to slay that exam. Okay. So let's start theories of salvation. So 3 main theories of Christ's role in salvation. We've got the ransom theory, the substitution theory, and the moral transformation theory. Okay, so we're starting off with the ransom theory, and that's based on the idea that the devil had power over people because of their sins. It's all very dramatic, isn't it? They had become prisoners of sin. Because Jesus was sinless, his death was able to give his life as a ransom for the souls of every human being. So that is the ransom theory. Next, we have the substitution theory, and this is based on the idea that people who have sinned deserve to be punished. Penal substitution is when someone takes the punishment on behalf of someone else. Okay, so which of these in this list is not a main theory of Christ's role in salvation? Let me know in the comments. What is it? Get your anything? Come on, let me know. So it's the reflection theory. That is not one of the 3 roles. And according to the ransom theory, who had power over people because of their sins? That was the devil. Okay. So key theory, moral transformation theory places emphasis on life and the teaching of Jesus. If Christian follows Jesus' examples and obey his teaching, their lives are transformed and so that they can become good people in the sight of God. So how do we remember how the ransom theory describes Jesus' salvation? It is a gift from God, and it's a sign of God's love. That's what you need to remember. Click the wrong one by accident there. So Jesus accepts the punishment, his suffering and death for the sins of people. This is seen as a gift from God, not something that people deserve. So which theory is it? I think my screen just went. Let me fix that real quick. I think we're back. Which theory is it? So remember, we've got the 3: moral transformation, substitution, and ransom theory. So let's run through them again. So they stick. Ransom theory is based on the idea the devil had power over people's sins. Substitution theory is people who sin deserve to be punished. And then the moral transformation theory is emphasis on the teaching of Jesus. If Christians follow Jesus' example and obey his teaching, they're transformed to become people in the sight of God. Okay, so that was theories of salvation, HyperCram. Next, we're going to go over incarnation, HyperCram. Because HyperCrams, they're just great. Keep sounding off with any questions you guys have as we're going through, or any more tips that you want, and I will do my best to answer them. So Christians believe that Jesus embodies God in human form. This is known as the incarnation. Nice little gift of Jesus there. Jesus is the second person of the Trinity, God the Son, but born of a human mother, Mary. So because Jesus is God, his teachings are believed to come from God. The sacrifice of his life at his crucifixion is seen as an act of atonement, the reconciliation of God and humanity by making amends for wrongdoing that takes away people's sins. So what is the name given to the Christian belief that Jesus embodies God in the human form? That was the incarnation. So that's what this HyperCram is about, incarnation. Who is Jesus' mother? That was Mary. So God is the father of Jesus, and Joseph is looked upon as Jesus's foster father. Very modern family. I love it. Oh, nice little Morgan Freeman gift. Such a good voice. After his death and resurrection, Christians believe that Jesus ascended back into heaven to sit at God the Father's right hand. Cool. So Jesus' resurrection is seen as proof of his divine nature, and also that there is life after death. So that's the key theory of incarnation. So who is Jesus' foster father? That would be Joseph. God, Jesus' father, Joseph, foster father. And what is Jesus' resurrection seen as proof of? Do we remember from a little bit up there? Well, we've got his divine nature, and he forgives and there's life after death. But he also does forgive those who have sinned. But the resurrection is life after death and his divine nature. Boom! Okay, so another thing that came in a lot was Judaism short questions. So we're going to go over some of those ABC questions that we mentioned earlier, and just go over the kind of things you need to remember, so you can definitely get those marks. Okay, how is everyone doing? How's everyone feeling? Any questions sound off? And we will do it. It will be great. So, okay, so Judaism short questions. Let's start. So what are the 3 characteristics of the Almighty? So Almighty is so in Judaism, the Almighty is the giver of the law, is one God, and he is the creator of the universe. So this would be like the part A question on paper 2. So that's when you just have to outline, you just have to give 3 things. You don't need to worry about explanations. It's just a fact recall question, a nice little summon to get you into the flow of the exam. So give 2 explanations why believing in life following death may be an important component of Judaism today. So for some Jews today, belief in life following death is important because it encourages them to live a better life. So again, the worked example here is structured just like you need to structure your exam answer. We have reason 1, and then we have our explanation. And the explanation for this is some believe that the Garden of Eden is set aside for those who lived a righteous life. Okay, so again, it's a part B question, so you've got to give a reason and an explanation. Really want to make sure that that formula is stuck on your head so you know how to approach these questions in the exam, because they're always the same. There's a nice bit of security there. You know what the exam paper is going to look like before you even get in there. So reason 2, some Jews today believe that life following death gives meaning to their lives. The life is best understood as a preparation for the life of the world to come. Okay, so again, this is going to be a part A question to outline 3 characteristics of bar mitzvah. It's a hard word to say. Bar mitzvah celebrations. The Jewish boy recites a portion of the Torah in Hebrew. So that's the holy text. The ceremony is usually followed by a celebration, which involves receiving gifts. Everyone loves a nice little gift. The boy will often make a speech to explain what his new status means to me. Boom! And there we are. We get to the end of those short questions. So that is how you want to be structuring your answers for those short answer questions. Give a reason and then give a nice little explanation. So build on that point a little bit. And that's just that examiner is going to be so happy. They're going to be giving you all the marks. So make sure you are following that formula. And you can even apply that to those longer essay questions. Always give a reason and an explanation. Okay, so do we have any questions? How is everyone doing? So screen will go a little bit weird for a second as I check back in with you guys. Hello, there's a question. So, I'm an argument against it, such as being ambivalent. So, I think what we're going to do next is, because I want this to be able to, I can't get too specific with some of the examples because it's a general preparation for the religious study course. So we're going to go over a nice little stress buster before the exam, and then maybe we'll have time to go through another module. So during exam season, it's really important that you keep your mental and physical health in check because it can be a stressful time. So it's important to keep balanced. So this is what the stress buster is going to come through with some nice space themed suggestions on how to keep yourself healthy and happy during exam season. So we're cheering for you, and not just us at Seneca, your friends, your family, everyone's going to be cheering for you. So think about all the support you have and all the lovely people you have in your life. They're going to help you get through the difficult time because exams can be stressful, but they'll be over really soon. Think of the nice little person in this spacesuit cheering for you in that exam hall. Hang out, relax, rest your brain. Really important to take regular study breaks. It's good to work in like intervals, so maybe work for like 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break to keep your brain relaxed. Hang out, see your friends, do all that normal stuff that you need to do to be happy. And like, just look how cute, then just look at cute dog gifts. I mean, that's probably the best thing to do, especially the night before the exam. Nice little stress relief, dog themed gifts. I can tell who made this stress buster because someone at Seneca loves dogs. I won't name any names, but they might be making some of our night before podcasts. So you have that to look forward to. So as well as these live streams, we also do night before podcasts. So make sure you check those out. A nice little, there was a nice little cram before the exam. Maybe listen to it on the way to the exam hall, just as some last minute prep. Listen to some tunes if you're feeling low. A little bit of music always helps. I really like, maybe like go listen to some live music, go to a piano bar, listen to some live music, or do what you got to do. Whatever your favorite tunes are, put them on and have a little groove like this cool guy playing with the space piano. I love that. Have a relaxing shower and plan an out of this world outfit for the big day. I think outfit prep is underrated. Always go comfy for exams. That would be my recommendation. So shower, plan an outfit, and like pack your bag with everything you'll need. Make sure you've got like a bottle of water, all the stationery that you'll need, that kind of stuff. And make sure it's all set up so there's no stress on the morning of the exam. So you can just wake up, shower, get ready, put on your bag and go to that exam hall and kill it. So those are some nice quick little tips for reducing stress during what is unfortunately a stressful time. Okay, so we've still got another few minutes, and then make sure you stick around because we're going over a GCSE maths predicted paper in the next live stream, which is going to be epic. It's Richard's first live stream, so make sure you get with it. So we have a question on the principle of testimony and the principle of credulity. So what do you understand by those principles at the moment? So I'd say the principle of, so if we start with the principle of credulity, it's a hard word to say, I'm not gonna lie. My pronunciation isn't always the best, also with pretty much anything. But it states that when a person says something is present, it usually is. So if they've experienced God, it is rational to believe that God was indeed present, whereas testimony explains that we should believe a person unless we have a good reason not to. Okay, so credulity states that when a person says something is present, it usually is, whereas testimony explains that we should believe a person unless we have a good reason not to. So that is the key difference there. Thank you for the question. Keep those questions coming in. Oh, recording is paused. Click somewhere on the box to resume. Not sure why that popped up, but hey, we're still new at these things. We're still learning. Let's go back here. Hide. Click the resume button or anywhere in this box. Okay, so I think we're back. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Okay, so to be honest, I think we've covered pretty much everything that I was hoping to go over during this live session. So to round off, just remember those little tips. I'll stop sharing my screen. So just remember the last minute tips about structuring your answers. So part A is always just going to be 3 quick statements that you need to give, whereas part B is you're going to need to give a reason and an explanation. So think of it as like a 2-part question. And part C, that's going to be the same as part B. You're going to have to give a reason and then an explanation, and then you're also going to need to give some kind of quotation or from like a biblical figure or a biblical reference. And then for the essay question, that's where you want to spend the majority of your time, because it's worth more than A, B, and C combined in terms of marks. And my final tip would be on timing. So make sure when you are doing this exam, you keep a really strict eye on the clock, because it can be really easy to fall behind. And you want to save time for question D, because that's where most of your marks are going to come from. So I'd say for question A, you want to spend around 3 minutes on that, maybe even less if it's just recalling 3 statements. For question B, about 4 minutes, and the same for question C. So 4 minutes on those. B and C are pretty much the same. The only difference is C, you've got to include that quotation. And then you want to be spending about 15 minutes on question D. And remember, it's 3 paragraphs, and you want to have a balanced argument. So you're going to have one argument and a counter argument. Make sure you include religious arguments in that and some quotations too. And like someone pointed out in the chat, you don't need to necessarily know the quotes word for word as long as they're recognizable. But the closer you can get it to the real thing, the better. So thanks very much for joining this revision session. I hope it was useful. Make sure you stick around. In 20 minutes or so, Rich is going to be going through a GCSE maths predicted paper for paper 1. And hopefully we'll highlight some stuff that you can work on over the weekend and some last minute tips. And he's great. He's really excited. It should be a really good live stream. And then after that, there's a free 30-minute trial of smart learning mode. So like, we're giving you everything before the weekend. So lots to do. Good luck with all of your studies. Keep up all your hard work. Thanks for joining and being proactive with all of your studies. And we are back next week. We're doing live streams every day next week. Get excited. Let us know what you want to cover. Let us know any questions you've got. Thanks for joining, and have a lovely weekend. And well done for getting through the first week of GCSE exams. See you later.